Hi everyone, Dave here with part 2 of the mini-series on taking a step back. Where exactly are we at the moment? Trying to explain, in my opinion, why things are where they are. And today's second and final part is about what I think that we all need to remember and what we need to do. Just going right back to basics. It's easy to get lost and mired in confusion. If you haven't seen the one I did last week, part 1, which was my take on why things are as they are, not what I think's going on from a geopolitical standpoint, but more from a kind of trying to explain the dark energy that's around, and the a comment on the severe mental incapacitation now of many people, and what that's doing to society and how we need to protect ourselves from it. So that's following on. This is following on from last week's video, to try to, as I say, taking an objective step back. What do we need to do to protect ourselves and to make sure that we continue to not only survive but try to thrive in this? It gets more insane every day, this world, doesn't it? I mean, there's absolutely nothing now that I wouldn't not believe. It's incredible. Okay, so I've got a list here because I don't want to forget anything. I don't usually write a list, but I've just made a few points. Also, I've broken another selfie stick. I either lose them or break them, so you've got a bit of a close-up of my ugly mug here, so apologies for that. And I'll keep swapping hands as well, because it's quite tiring holding the phone like this. Right, the first thing we need to remember is that, yeah, we have been subjected to the most unbelievable and relentless psychological operation. Everybody in the Western world. Some people have capitulated and have become walking emblems of the tyrannical state. Others haven't. Others, including us, haven't capitulated. We can see it. We can see the propaganda. We can see how society's being changed. We can see what the overarching aims and objectives are. But that's not to say that we've not been affected psychologically and emotionally by what's gone on, and what continues to. Let's remember that we are and continue to be subject to a horrendous psyop, one that shows no sign of stopping whatsoever. So keep it in mind. Remember that this is World War III that we are currently living through. You know, a war waged by governments on their citizens. Well, I say government through governments on their citizens. As we know, governments and politicians are merely puppets. But remember that. Let's also remember as well, because of that, a lot of us are feeling tired, and that's fine. Doesn't mean we're weak. Doesn't mean that we're about to capitulate. We are only human. We are only human. We did win the first battle against the globalists with regard to the lockdowns. Part of that battle with heavy losses. Obviously I lost my dad. Many people have lost loved ones, harmed, injured, killed. We've won the first of those battles. The next battle now is for justice with regard to you know what, and bringing people to account. But remember, we stopped, to a degree, the tyranny in its tracks there. We stopped the lockdowns. We raised awareness amongst the population. We woke people up. So it's proof. Any war involves a series of battles. Some you lose, some you win. We've proven that we can win battles, so keep that in mind as well. Let's have a look what else we've got on here. Right, I think this might be the most important point. Again, obviously this is only my take on things, so let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree. And just while I think on as well, don't forget to subscribe to The Imperfect Individual. And again, sorry about the close-up of my my ugly mug there. There we go. Right, so most important point. I know who my enemy is. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. And the enemy, as far as I see it, is not 1,000 miles away in Russia and Ukraine. Because as I remarked last week, I don't know the truth of what's going on there. I do know though, because I've seen the enemy at close quarters. I do know there is evil stalking this country and this society. It comes in the form of our government, our politicians, and our mainstream media and scientific community. Also elements embedded within the NHS and the police. High-ranking people who have blood on their paychecks and puppets doing the work of evil. So the reason I say this is we have to be very, very careful. If our aim to build this better world is to first of all defeat evil, and it is, and we're only at the start of it, make sure that we're expending our energy on the evil that we know, we can see, rather than an evil that may be there but we're not sure, i.e. what's going on in Russia and Ukraine. And more to the point, let's remember that the evil that is embedded within our society, we can do something about, and we have done something about, going back to my point I made before about winning battles. None of us can do anything about Ukraine, Russia. I mean, you might want to take a refugee if you're that, you know, if you think that's a good thing to do. As I say, I'm not going to get involved in that side of things. I don't know anything about it. I'm saying be careful, because energy reserves are depleted. Energy reserves are low. At the moment, many of us are tired, which is fine. So let's make sure that the energy that we've got left, we use some of it to look after ourselves, to socialise, to enjoy life, and that the bit that we're allocating to fight the enemy, that we use to fight the enemy that we can see and that we know who it is. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. Fight one battle at a time. What else have I written down? Yeah, I've written down, don't take sides. Now, bit of a contradiction. In my book, towards the end of my book, incidentally, the book is just undergone its first edit, so I'll be doing a video update on the book and the likely publication date soon. But at the end of the book, I do say now is the time to take a side. Now this is the only time that we should take sides. You either take a side over freedom, you pick a side, freedom or tyranny. That's it. You live in tune with your values, you do what's right, you stand up for what's right. You defend those who need defending. You don't sacrifice your morals for a paycheck. You know, that's living free, that's defending freedom. You stand up for freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of bodily autonomy, freedom of association, or you don't. When I say don't take a side, I'm talking about various political situations across the world. Obviously the one that's being pushed to the extreme at the moment is Ukraine and Russia, Putin and Zelensky. And the media wants us, it's obvious, to choose a side. Why? Because once again, if people choose sides, they are divided and easier to control and strike fear into and manipulate. It's not about taking sides, particularly when you don't know exactly what's going on. And I know there are many who really do have some brilliant insight into the geopolitical situation in that region and the history, and I'm not saying that. What I'm saying though is that in picking a side, whether it's the side of the West or whether it's the side of Putin and Russia, we are playing once again, just like with Brexit, just like with Trump, just like with lockdowns and jabs and all the rest of it. They've divided people all the time. So it was one thing, division, division, division. Now, I mentioned lockdown and jabs there, that falls into the tyranny aspect of things. I don't even need to explain why that's tyrannical. But the media and dark forces that preside over this world are very, very clever at prompting an irrational emotional response in people, taking away their ability to think and ensuring that they are drawn to one particular side. It's done through a combination of, social media algorithms combined with mainstream media, all this type of thing. You end up with people in these echo chambers. Now, this situation at the moment is not one whereby we should be taking sides. We should be, in my opinion, obviously, what's going on, innocent people as ever, innocent, men, women and children, being caught in the crossfire, being harmed, being killed. Why am I going to take a side there? I'll take the side of the innocent people. That's any side I'll take, not on any of the political machines behind it. But don't forget, there are innocent children in this country who need our help, who've been let down, who've been harmed or killed, and who need to have justice served. So let's keep our eye on the ball. The only time we should take a side is whether it's freedom or tyranny. Because if you're standing for freedom, you don't need to politically ally with anything, with an ideology. You don't need to ally with a country. You don't need to ally with left or right. You stand for freedom, which is freedom of expression. Freedom for people to express themselves how they want to express themselves. And I think leads on to the next point. There are no good guys. I don't mean that in terms of there's no good people in the world. I don't mean that, because there are. But the overlords, the orchestrators, the puppeteers, the puppet masters and the puppets in the political world, in the big tech world, in the big pharma world, the media world, and all the rest of it, they're the kind of people, if you can call them people, they're the kind of people, for example, who work at the Met Police, in positions of power, who, when presented with a dossier of evidence relating to harm done, serious, unprecedented harm done by medical procedure, decide not to investigate. These are the kind of people who are psychopathic and completely without empathy and morals. Why am I saying this? Well, there are no good guys. There's no one coming to save the day. I've said it all along. Why would there be? It's very, very naive, in my opinion. Again, only my opinion. We're so far into this now, no one's come to save the day yet, have they? Trump was supposed to, he didn't. I do think he was less controlled, clearly, by the deep state. But he was still controlled, and he didn't save the day. No one's coming to save the day, which is empowering and liberating for us. It's what I've said all along. Don't rely on white hats. A lot of people are saying it's Putin. It's not. The world doesn't work like that. It's not. We save ourselves. I keep saying it. By removing consent, by doing the next two things I'm going to talk about. Removing our consent. Standing up for our own freedom and values no matter what the price is. Speaking out. Living courageously. And doing these two things. Right, the first one, these last 2 points now, is I've written down stop sharing links. Sorry about the camera wobble here. I hope you can hear me okay as well. Stop sharing links. We had too much of it with COVID, and we're having too much of it now, in my opinion, because all it's doing, again, is ensuring that everybody is drowning in information all the time. Information that is usually, now, it wasn't with COVID, because COVID was easy to expose for the lie that it was. With this, though, very, very difficult to verify what's true and what's false. And what it does if you're drowning in information, it incapacitates you, it mentally incapacitates you, it puts you in a state of inertia. You become overwhelmed. We've all been there. I'm speaking to myself here as much as anybody else, because it's almost like a morbid curiosity to want to find out everything that might be going on. But we've really got to start living how we, in tune with how we want this new world to be. We don't want a world where we're looking at our phones all the time, reading stuff and going on Twitter and watching videos endlessly. Ironically, I'm doing a video now, but I'm going to explain. When I try to share information, I try to share my own thoughts. I think that we need to do more of that. Whether it's doing a video yourself, this is what I think. This is my opinion. This isn't somebody else's opinion. It's not a film someone else has made. Or this isn't a blog I've written. Here's my podcast. Now, in doing that, if we all decided, or if enough of us decide to do that, we top up that well of creativity and ingenuity and ideas, rather than just replicating and duplicating all the time. I personally think people need to learn this, because you end up spreading yourself too thin. You end up wasting too much time, drowning in information, time that could be better spent taking more positive action, creating something. So that's what I think there. And then last of all, I've written down, I think how totalitarian regimes are brought down is by everyone having a common vision, i.e. willing to die for freedom. I think we've got that in enough numbers. But also something else crucial, you need a mixture of bravery, creativity, intellect, risk-taking and skills. You need everybody to offer something unique to break down the wall of tyranny one brick at a time. Now, I've tried to do it with the book I've written and with these videos. So I say focus on one thing. What is it that what one thing can you do? It could be people gave out light paper against vaccine passports, stand in the park, whatever it is, organising local grassroots movements, whatever, podcasts, blogs. What one thing? Or building websites maybe, tech stuff. What one thing are you really good at that you could focus? What one thing could you say, right, I'm not going to drown myself in all these links. I'm going to do this because I know I'm good at it. Still too many keyboard warriors out there. Way too many. You know the kind, don't you? On the Telegram groups, who are incessantly negative. It doesn't matter. Or we spend half the time dismissing people as shills and controlled opposition, trying to undermine. And yes, some of these will be state stooges, infiltrators, bots, whatever you want to call them, of course, but it's pretty clear as well. Some people just like negativity in this awake movement. Now, I think it's really, really, really important that we remember this. Information is what is imprisoning us. It's imprisoning many in this awake movement, as a truth and freedom movement, whatever, as much as those who are acting with sheer insanity every day of their lives, because it's, as I say, putting people in this state of inertia and ultimately fear, confusion and fear. So I say step away from the information, get out here and live free, conserve our energy, use the energy that we've got to create good things and to defeat the evil that we do have some control over defeating, and we do, because we have made a difference so far. And keep in mind, we are victims of psychological operation as well, and we are. It's affected us in a different way. It's tired us out. As I say, that's okay, it's natural to be tired. So just remember all these points. You may disagree with me, and that's fine, and as I say, leave a comment. But I just wanted to do this video just to strip everything right back to try and get to the essence of the real kind of like simplicity of this. It's not easy, but it is simple what we need to do. Don't let ourselves be consumed by information in particular. Don't do it. It's really unhealthy, really, really unhealthy. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped. Hope it gives you some perspective. And yeah, I'll be back soon with another one. So I'll see you all very soon. And have a great rest of the day, whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, bye bye.